Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. It's Scott Ferguson. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a fantastic interview with my good friend, actually a good friend. I've known her for a little bit, actually got to meet with her. She is the owner of Holistic Life Coaches. Her name is Brittany Cano. And we had a fantastic, fun conversation. I kind of knew what I was getting into going into this, but she just blew my mind with her research ability, her ability to connect with people, her ability to really help you with pattern interruptions and nervous system regulation, which everyone needs it. And as we're here in the new year, it is super critical that we start off right. And what a better way than with my good friend Brittany. So if you're looking for somebody that is maybe needs to level up just a little bit or a lot of bit, then please share this with them or hit the like or smash that subscribe button. It really helps the sponsors and affiliates. So without further ado, here's my really good friend from Holistic Life Coaches, Brittany Cano. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson. I got a little home cooking here. A good friend of mine, Brittany Cano, who is from, did I say that right, Brittany? I'm going to let you actually
Brittany Cano.
Cano, yes, Brittany Cano, and we even talked about it off mic, but she lives just north of me here in sunny South Florida, although today is kind of in the 50s and 60s, which for me, being from the Midwest, I'll kind of take it. But Brittany Cano has a true passion for for guiding others to heal their past and be the healthiest version of themselves so they can fulfill their life's purpose with passion in the present. Through mindfulness, movement, and lifestyle medicine, she helps you heal and elevate mind, body, and spirit. Brittany firmly believes you are your own healer. And we were actually talking about that like off mic about the stuff that I've been going through. And she said the body knows how to heal itself. Just got to make sure you feed it the right stuff. And Brittany, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
My favorite color is green, and it's so good to be here with you today, Scott. Hello, everybody.
Yay. She's my Cabo buddy. We've shared Cabo before. So did a little boulas.
You're in the Treasure Coast.
Yeah. So what's up with the green?
I love green for so many reasons. The trees, the outdoors, being in the woods. I'm from the Midwest. I'm a woods kind of girl. Green rivers, money. Yes. My eyes are green. So I'm all about the green. I look good in the color green.
Yeah.
So I really love the color green.
If you're watching on Vimeo or YouTube or whatnot, she's absolutely stunning. And she actually brings her energy to wherever she goes. Which that's why I'm so like magnetized to her. She's just fantastic. So Brittany, let's get to you're from the Midwest, right? Where are you from in the Midwest?
Illinois.
That's
small town in Illinois.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan, kind of a small town as well. So we're a couple Midwesterners here on the east side of Florida, which is kind of unique. So, but let's get to the origins. Let's get to the roots of Brittany.
All right. Well, yeah, like I said, I grew up in the Midwest, small town girl. And I knew I wanted to leave the small town. So that was really my focus. Upbringing was, let's say, your average lower middle class family. My dad passed away when I was really young.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
So at a young age, I really think I learned that life is so precious, right? The people in our life are blessings and they may be gone at any time. Wild, out of control teenager, moved to Florida on a travel nursing assignment, and I stayed here. And once I got here, I found myself still repeating all kinds of cycles from my teenage years, early 20s. And that's when I discovered coaching and my life changed.
Did you hire a coach?
I did a personal development, life transformation training.
Yeah.
Like from the outside looking in, my life looked great at that time, but I was stuck. And I'm like, how do I change these freaking toxic behaviors? And I did personal development training, and thank God I did. My life has been like so beautiful and great since then. It was such a healing journey and really inspired me to do the work I do today.
Experiencing death so early in life, right? At that age, did it scare you or did it make you actually level up and like lean into life more? Which one was it that you really felt?
So I feel like it scared me in a way because looking back, I see that I was doing so many of those like unhealthy habits and like living this crazy lifestyle as a teenager, running from the pain of it. I didn't know that, of course, at the time, but it also was a blessing in so many ways because it really made me value the people in my life
Oh my
and
gosh, yes.
want to have a fulfilling life, because I was so close with my dad and he passed away so young.
Yeah.
When he was like 31.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was
Brittany.
9. So I grew up fast, as I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot of people listening can relate
Oh,
to.
absolutely. Absolutely. So what was the trigger that said, okay, I need a personal development coach, a life coach, a performance coach? Like what was that said, okay, I know it costs money, right? And it's a commitment, but what was that? Because I'd like to have people hear it. Because I always ask that of my clients, like, dude, why do you want to be coached? Like, what's going on? It's the only
It was
time I
many
use why,
things.
by the way, in my
Oh,
coaching.
is it?
Yeah.
So many things. So I had a friend at the time who was going through these changes too. He's an aerospace engineer, awesome guy, but he really leveled up his life. So it
Mhm.
inspired me a lot.
Ooh.
And he started asking me, what do you want for your life? And I was dating a guy at the time. All my friends were like, he's amazing. And there was something in my gut that told me something was off with the guy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Should have listened to, well, eventually I listened to my
Yeah.
gut. And so we parted ways. That's a whole story in itself.
Mhm.
And I had the option to go to Sunfest and party like I
Yeah.
normally do,
Yeah.
or go to this life transformation training. And I was like, if I'm going to change these ways, I'm going to have to do something else besides go out and just have a good time.
Love it.
And that's what I did. And things changed completely. I remember sitting in the audience and the trainer said something like, you want a 10 relationship? Are you being a 10 yourself? And it was such a
Yes.
simple statement, but
Yeah.
there were so many moments that were just smack in the face. And it was time, because
Right.
I knew that I saw enough patients in ICU. I had my mom to look at and see, like, if I keep making these kinds of choices, my path's probably not going to be real great.
Right. Or you'll just be like that proverbial stick your head in the sand and wake up a year from now exactly where you were, just a year older, right? Yeah. I love it. How that goes. So with being, what do you feel then makes a great coach?
I think having your client's interest in mind
Mm.
always, and keeping them connected to what they want for their life and keep bringing them back to that and giving the space for them to really explore their minds. Our minds are so powerful and we tell
Yes.
ourselves crazy stories. And so
Yes.
holding the space and being able to be that mirror and say, hey, this is what you're telling yourself. And a lot of the work I do too is
Oh,
that
that's so
nervous
strong.
system regulation,
Yeah.
creating that sense of inner safety, inner calm, so that we can do the things we want to do with our life. Because when we're dysregulated, it's so hard to get out and really thrive.
Well, what did you just call that, Britt?
I called it nervous system regulation.
Okay. Unpack
Yeah.
that a little bit. Like I
So
understand that
a
gives you
lot of
inner
people
safety and inner calm, but
we're in survival mode a lot of times, right? Like it's a beautiful thing. It keeps us alive, but a lot of us are in that survival mode a majority of the time,
right,
causes all that ongoing high volume chronic stress,
right.
band-aiding everything, coping mechanisms. Really, when you break it down, like either we're in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn.
Yes.
And so
Absolutely.
until we take care of that, it's a lot harder to do things. We can drudge on through, but then
Mm,
there's always going to be those negative consequences too, right?
absolutely.
So I really help people be able to regulate their nervous system through mind body practices.
Love it. And does that include like breathing exercises, cold water
Breath
immersion, or what are you
work, all
doing?
kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Breath work, even food and different herbs can help with that.
Right.
Meditation, emotional freedom technique, EFT
Mm,
tapping,
yeah. Yeah.
different
Tapping.
somatic
Love it.
work. Yeah,
Yes.
trauma informed yoga, all of that.
I love that you call yourself really kind of a holistic coach. And like a lot of people think holistic, oh, you're talking tree hugging and herbs and stuff like that. But people, like I say it on stage now, holistic is just whole body. It's just like everything from the mind, spirit. I mean, there's a place for medicine, don't get me wrong, to keep you alive, but you can really eat your way and like live your way to a thriving lifestyle instead of being stuck in that survival lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I say I like blend like modern medicine with holistic practices, because
Love
being a
that.
nurse for so long, there is, like you said, there's a place for modern medicine.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, oh, you're 50 years old and you've never had a colonoscopy and you've been having GI issues for the last 10 years. You got to get your butt to go, literally, your butt,
Literally.
to go get your colonoscopy, right? Like we need those things. They have their role. And like we talked about in the very beginning, we have that innate ability to heal. And through lifestyle medicine is a beautiful way to do that.
Yes. I love that. So when you're maybe working, about ready to work with a one-on-one client, you're kind of in that discovery period. Is there anything you do with your secret sauce to maybe help them kind of shine a light on that blind spot that you might have?
I do a process of looking at what are the facts of the story, right? We start to see themes. So when talking to them, I do a holistic assessment. So we look at their physical health, mental health, emotional, spiritual, social life, and there starts to be themes. And so those mindsets also start to come through as well. Those beliefs, you can start to see them. And so there's different processes I'll take them through to look at, like, okay, what's the fact of the situation? What's the story that's running behind that? What's that survival mechanism that is your automatic go-to? And then we'll also do guided meditation specific for those kinds of things, because when we're in that more relaxed brain state, we're able to access things that in this thinking, logical mind, we may not necessarily have access to.
Love it. So you actually take the time. Is that even before they're a client?
When I first have somebody come, I do that holistic assessment with them.
Nice.
So I do get an idea of what in the consult. So that's before they're a client. And then really seeing what's going on. And it's like I said, it becomes really apparent where they need to focus their energy on. Like, some people come to me and they're not exercising, tons of aches and pains, and they're have so much stress, or others, their relationships are falling apart.
Right.
And so then it's like, okay. And then it's also important, what do they want, right? What do you really want for your life? Because they might not care about any of the things that I think are important. So together we come up with a plan.
I love that you coordinate. You're not just like, here's my cookie cutter, go do it. That you do it, because that what I'm hearing a lot there is like a harmonic, like almost harmony, versus like I hate balance. Balance is like, here's
I use the word harmony a lot too.
Yeah. So harmony is like, I liken it to like a jazz band, right? Because I love jazz music. Like God or your spiritual might be the drums, personal growth might be the piano, family's the horns, and on and on and on through.
Oh, I love that.
So if one of them's out of tune, right, then it kind of sounds like crap, right? So that there's no harmony. But I'm not asking you to be like John Bonham on the drums or Eddie Van Halen on the guitar, Beethoven on the, just if we can just get that locked in holistically, that you have that harmony. I love that you do that. So is there any, maybe you're still in the discovery period, or maybe you're kind of working through starting your protocol with them, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Oh, let me think about that. I asked them so many questions. Right. Yeah. Well, what do I wish that they asked me? I maybe if they were asking me what, like, I see is, I mean, I share with them what I see, and it's also important to inquire and pick their minds about what is going on inside their minds. But maybe if they ask for more direct feedback about what do I see, because sometimes it's not always the space to give your input. And I'm not always right. Like, I do believe we have that innate ability to heal, and it's within us. But it asking maybe for that direct feedback.
No, I love that, because a lot of people, especially, I'll ask them to ask me what's expected of them. You know what I'm saying?
How I can support them. I'm like, you better than anybody.
Right.
Like, if you're gonna like go ghost in a week, or like where you fall in the hole over and over again, how can I support you?
Yeah, where's your blind? Where do you feel that you are? Where do you feel? Because I love, like, when I hired a coach, I was like, listen, what's expected of me? You know, and then they kind of like, wow, they didn't even know how to answer that. The first coach I hired, they didn't know what was expected of me, because they were so used to just run the protocol. I want to know, because I'm so interactive, like you want to know if someone's going to stick a needle in you. You want to know what's going on. If someone's telling you to do this meditation, well, like,
right, because you have to build that trust.
Yeah, exactly. So excellent. So then, what do you feel your strengths are within your coaching?
I'm very compassionate, and also, because I have this holistic approach, being a nurse and combining so many different modalities, it really helps me see that 360 view of what's going on. I was thinking about this. I just did a webinar today, and it's like, people will go to a personal trainer, they'll go to a health coach, they'll go to a life coach, they'll go to a meditation teacher, somebody for energy, and I'm able to combine so many different support systems for the person. So I have so many different angles, and I'm also well connected to people in the healing fields and in the medical field as well. So I have such a great dynamic approach to support people. Like, you tell me what med you're on, I've been a nurse a long time, I'm going to know what they are. Whereas if you just go to somebody else, they might not know what's going on. They might not know the effects of the meds or this disease process that you have. So I have a lot of different ways in which I can support people.
You've just became a resource for me. For people that come to me and they're like, well, I'm on this. And I'm like, oh, here I am Googling it and saying, okay. But I don't ever want to give that kind of professional advice with that. But I'd like to know what's going on with what they're putting in their body a little bit better, which I've educated myself over the past 11 years on that stuff. But sometimes I just hit that, my own blind spot. Like, what's going on?
Right. Yes.
So what are you trying to tune up? Like, what weaknesses might you think that you're working with right now that you work through as a coach?
I'm working through asking more powerful questions, because there are times when I'll get up off of the session. I do try to have those healthy work boundaries, and I love what I do, and I love my clients so much. So I think about them after the session, and I think like, oh, that would have been a really great question to ask. So then I'll write it in their chart, like, next time, if it's the space for it, to ask that question or to connect those dots. So I'm really in the space of like, how can I best serve my clients through asking, like we talked about a little bit ago, those questions that are difficult, right? Asking those questions that are hard to ask and holding the space for that.
That's so like the humility in that. That's awesome that you recognize that, because you did not go quiet for a second. I was asking you, what could you tune up? And you're like, do. Me too.
I know what I'm working on. Yeah.
Like, I can work on what you're really good at, is compassion. Like, I have it, but I want them to succeed so bad that I can actually push somebody while I'm coaching, instead of shutting the fuck up and being like, dude, just let this play out. I'm good with silence, but it's just like, I'm like, wait a minute, did I ask the wrong thing?
The compassion for me, like, it's strong, and why asking important questions is so powerful, because I have a people pleasing tendency, right? So I may not want to it can be hard to find that deep question sometimes, because I want to be compassionate, I want to be gentle, I want to be supportive, and those hard questions are what really get us to the next level and support us in our healing. It's pattern interruption, right? So much of healing, interrupting the pattern, interrupting that cycle.
Yeah, it is, and replacing it with something that's going to serve you or serve them, right? Yes. I'm actually typing that one out. Pattern interruption. That's awesome. So, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have.
Okay,
but I'm really bad.
No problem, no worries. But there's some time travel involved in that, right? So let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Brittany. Okay. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on her? Not so much to change anything. I know you went through some tragedy and stuff like that. Not to change anything of your upswing, right? Like, because you've learned a lot along the way, but maybe what would you tell her to maybe shorten a learning curve or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker?
Oh, it's so ironic. I had this similar question asked, and I pulled a picture of like a 21, 22-year-old me, and it was yesterday. And it was, what advice would you give her? And it is really to trust yourself, trust the process of life, and that everything works out for you. So I think for anybody listening, whether you're feeling in that state of panic or self-doubt, is to trust yourself, trust the process of life, and also keep listening to that loving inner guidance. Because I know, looking back at even during hard times, that was always there. And it's like allowing that loving inner guidance, that inner light, that inner intuition, whatever you want to call it, your wisdom, your gut knowing to really illuminate and start to really follow in on that. Because I feel like that's where I am now. And like, it's such a comforting, calming, loving place most of the time.
There's so much being said in there. And a lot of it can be just stories that aren't serving you either, and be able to decipher that. I love that. So, Brittany, how do you want your dash remembered then? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date. Hopefully it's way down the line, your life date and death date. How does Brittany want her dash remembered?
Oh my goodness, Scott, this question. Oh, I've the dash. I've thought about what I would want people to say if they were looking at me on my funeral, but what do I want that to say? A loving presence that encouraged the best in people and saw the best in people. Like, it's so important to me to inspire and support people to see their best and see their best in others.
That's amazing. I can see that 100%. So what do you, if, how do I ask this? If people really knew Brittany, they would know what?
They would know that I feel like I'm a goofball.
You
I,
are, in a good way. You are
I
such
look
a fun
like
combo.
I'm I feel like I am really loving and also very serious in the sense that I'm so love to learn and I
Mm,
so love to learn about personal growth, spirituality, how to be a better person, how to expand your mind. Like
yeah.
I absolutely love it so
No, I
much.
love that. It's
I do. And
evolution.
so I feel like people that really know me, they know that like that is my top passion. Like I live and breathe what I teach and what I coach.
I love that. Yeah, that you do. You're very authentic, and but you actually do what you say as well. And that's something I immensely respect. So then what do you think people might misunderstand the most about Brittany?
What would they miss? Something I'm working on in a way is like in healing on my own is how I share my story. I've done
Mm,
a lot of healing on my journey and like
yeah.
alleviated a lot of shame and guilt and that story. And I know there's still remnants of it. And so I do see, like, even in social media posts that I share, like when I go into it, my intention is to share inspiration and that kind of thing. But I think sometimes people might say, "Oh, she's been through a lot," or the way I tell my story. So I think owning my story from a place of courage and I feel
Yeah.
like I'm authentic, but like not having those last layers of shame that might still be in the
Ooh,
story.
love that. Like my coach, the one thing she worked with me on was I would live with a lot of shame, guilt, and conflict. Right. I would deal with a lot of that. I mean, there's some stuff that I'm not proud of. There's, things in the military I had to do. There's a lot of like stuff that I had to really unpack and work through. But that's actually one of the most powerful that because I believe in affirmations. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more of a believer that human minds are they're made to problem solve. So if you ask your affirmation in a question, your brain really starts to work on it. And it's like one of my questions I ask myself every day: how is it that I continue to live without shame, guilt, or conflict? And it's just like
Oh, I love that.
it really started like, pouring out of me, and now it's like I don't even think about the stuff as much because the subconscious mind is going, dude, you don't live with that. You keep asking me every freaking day, man. What's up? And that's
And then when
when,
you keep showing up in life, right,
yeah,
from that place of love, from that place of honor,
yes,
that makes a difference too, because you start to really
huge,
believe,
yeah,
oh, okay, I can know how
absolutely,
to take care of
dude,
myself and live my life
all
like a rock
day.
star.
I love it.
I want to be
So,
ashamed.
what is Brittany's definition of a life well lived?
A life well lived, a life with purpose, passion, and also heart centered, right? Groundedness. I'm all about creating and accomplishing. And I think it's so important that we stay close to our values, stay close to our vision and our heart, right? Because then we can be doing all kinds of things and we don't even really we lose sight of why we're doing it.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
staying connected to my purpose,
love
passion,
that.
yet
Yeah,
staying
just
grounded
heart
and
centered and
being
grounded.
being in service.
What do you feel your core values are? If you had to name three.
My core values are be making positive impact,
Mm-hmm.
peace, like peace,
Yeah,
groundedness, and this is kind of the same thing, like serving my purpose.
yeah, love it. Yeah,
Very
you
important.
mentioned it in a life well lived. I mean, almost all three of those were there. That's awesome. Time to shine today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and Brittany, you and I, we probably discussed a few of these questions before, like at length. We were boo-lying and whatnot, but today you have 5 seconds to answer them with no explanations, and they can all be answered that way. I absolutely promise you. You ready to level
Okay.
up?
Let's do
Let's do it.
it.
So, Brittany, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Own who you are. Shine your light.
Oh my gosh, I'm writing that down. Who you are, shine your light. That's beautiful. So, sure, one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Exercise.
Yeah,
Always
get that
keep your body moving and in shape.
moving,
Helps the
baby.
mind, spirit, everything.
Love that. So you see me kind of walking around down the street or at an event or whatnot. Man, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums. What book really helps you out with the mindset that you might help hand to me?
I love The New Earth. That's a deep one.
Okay.
The New Earth's the first thing that comes up by Eckhart
Beautiful. No,
Tolle.
that's awesome. Fantastic. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
These little hearts, two
Really?
of them, these
Love
little pink
it.
hearts.
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Britt,
Britt.
Bergan, Shaw. I would play basketball.
Okay. Love it. So, any hidden talent or superpowers that nobody knows about until now?
I always say my superpower is to be able to create my sense of inner calm and ease.
Love it. That's
But people
beautiful.
know about that. I like to share about that.
That's awesome. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Probably checkers.
Me too. Headline for your life.
Oh, life well lived.
Yes. Any superstitions you believe in?
I don't believe in the little black cat
Okay.
crossing
Very
your
good.
path.
Love it. Go to ice cream flavor.
Ooh, I like pistachio and sea
Okay.
salt caramel.
Ooh,
I got a whole list for you.
love it. Love it. So there's a sandwich called the Brit Bergan. Build that sandwich for me. What's in
Oh, I totally got this. All right. So there's gonna
it?
be some wheat bread. It's gonna have either ham or turkey.
Okay.
Definitely a couple slices of cheese, some
Okay.
Doritos on there,
Oh,
a layer of mayonnaise, some Dijon mustard, and a little bit of Italian
you
dressing.
have the crunch in
This
there.
sandwich before.
Just missing the man candy. You got to throw some bacon on there. I love it. Love it. All right. So,
Crunchy.
favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
I absolutely love Inner Truth Project. They help survivors of sexual abuse. They do so much in the community. Amazing organization.
Got it. That'll be in the show notes as well.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
In the last question, we can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I like Motown so much.
Really?
That 60s?
Okay. Yeah, 60s, yeah, early 70s.
I love
okay.
that music.
Good deal, man.
Feels so good to oh well, yeah, it's such a great era of music.
Love it. Love it. So, Brittany, how can we find you, my friend?
You can find me at holisticnursecoaches.com. From there, you can find me on social media. I'm active on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube and Instagram, but holisticnursecoaches.com.
Yeah, I love it. And we were talking off mic again about our website URLs and stuff like that, and how the change we had to make actually serves us and helps us serve better. Because if you're eventually down the line, make sure you squad out there really keeps an eye on Brittany, because she's going to be kind of a coach of coaches in a sense that she's moving in. If she's not, which she does some already. I know that I learn something every time I get to have the privilege of connecting with her. And Brittany, if you could please do us a solid, leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
All right. It's going to be to stay connected to your breath. I know this is a simple one, but we always need reminded of this. It helps us connect to ourselves, connect to the present moment, regulate our nervous system. So making sure we're taking those nice, deep belly breaths down into the belly, big, full exhale out multiple times a day. So that also when you feel stressed, you have that to recall on, and you can utilize the power of the pause. There's a lot of power in pausing in life and connecting to your breath, right? It's called our life force for so many reasons. Yes. So remembering the quality of breath. Yeah, exactly. It's a life changer though, when we can really own our breath.
I love that. When you exhale, are you more through the nose or the mouth?
I try to focus on the inhale, exhale through the nose. Mm-hmm. And if I'm trying to really feeling stressed or overwhelmed or anxious or whatever, I'll do nice long exhales out through the mouth, and even with a sigh, because it's the double, benefit of the vagus nerve. When we make a sigh, that helps too. And just making sure it's a nice full, because sometimes people don't fully exhale either.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people, even on the inhale, they're not breathing diaphragmatically or
Right. They're
whatever
not
the word
down
is.
into
Yeah.
the belly. The
Yeah.
shoulders are
Yeah. That
up. They're
really
not
wants to
breathing
go,
into the sides of the
instead of
lungs.
just kind of
Yeah.
letting it pull
Relax
up.
those
Yeah.
shoulders down.
Because it's funny on the exhale now, I'm big into either Wim Hof, and I also have another person that really helps out with my breathing exercises. On the exhale, he actually has like started pursing my lips as if I'm blowing a candle out, which I
Okay.
found that it is, and like you said, like get it all out of you, right? And I just found that there's more work, but it just feels like everything's really leaving. Does that make sense? To some,
It does. And if you
yeah.
do that, I don't know if you've heard this one from Dr. Andrew Huberman, that
Mm,
double inhale through the
mm,
nose. So
yeah.
once you can get that extra little exhale at the
Yes.
top, and then it
Yes.
really opens up the alveoli in the lungs, and then that
Yes.
big exhale sigh out, because you're also blowing off your CO2. And so
Yes.
when we're under stress, it builds up in the system. So it's has multiple benefits
Love
as
that. I love it. And squad, we just had a fun conversation and a free masterclass with my really good friend Brittany, and she learned at a young time in her life about death, unfortunately, but that really led into her really valuing life. But then she kind of found herself in repeatable cycles also during that time and running from the pain. She searched out a coach in coaching. She actually passed up Sunfest, which I like to go to Sunfest every year. It was a really good time. She passed up Sunfest and really kind of leveled herself up. She's a coach that keeps the client's interest in mind, keep them connected to what they want. And when they kind of stray from it, she brings them back to that why. But at the same time, she gives them grace and space. And that is the epitome of a fantastic coach. She will provide inner safety and inner calm for the person. She'll help them regulate that nervous system regulation, which a lot of coaches don't, which I added to my practice, but not even close to what Brittany can do for you. She has an innate ability to help you heal, because she's someone that's actually walked that journey that you're looking to walk through. She's somebody that has really a compassionate 360-degree view of what she does in life, whether she's being a wife, family, whatnot. She's always there, and she always really kind of does what I'd say listen with her neck. First time I met her, when I was talking, she leaned in. She was really observing me, not just from what I was saying, but my twitches or my arm movements or whatever. She was really leaning in. Brittany wants you to really trust yourself, trust the process. Everything will work out for you. Listen to what she called that loving inner guidance. And if you don't know something, like my good friend Leah Woodward would say, is get your asking gear. There's people out there that you can ask, like Brittany. Let me put you in touch with her. Her humility is on point. Sometimes when I put that question out there, squatted, like, what's your weaknesses? What do you need to work on? She did not pause. She was right into it. And this is someone that's really planting trees she's never going to sit in the shade of. She's more about the intention than the attention. It's not like, look at me, look at me. Even though when you meet her, all eyes are on her. She's just that kind of person. She wants you to really stay connected to who you are. So work to have a positive impact. Work on your inner peace and always live your purpose. And with that power of the pause, stay connected to your breath. It connects ourselves to ourselves, the moment, and it'll help regulate that nervous system. That's what my good friend Brittany does. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's absolutely stunning. She's earned her varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on. I
Thank you,
absolutely love your
Scott.
guts. I love that we get to collaborate as well.
Oh, I appreciate you so much. You're such a poet. I love it. Thank
Yay!
you. You're
I'll chat soon,
amazing.
love.
All right.